Okay. Okay, great. Glad you can hear, Katie. Okay. Those of you who, great. And if it isn't, we'll just all keep a little code of silence going along with the recording things. Okay, so it looks like the assignment is available. So with permission from file owner, that looks like that's definitely then a computer problem. So what I suggest you do is you log a ticket with VC Learn, sorry, with VC Assist, of course, and then what will happen is they can try and sort you out that side. In the meantime, I will upload the assignment onto VC Learn so you can get it through there. But just in case it's a problem on their side, just log a ticket, or they might be able to tell you how to unlock it on your computer. Okay, I don't know if assignment 2 has been released yet. I think it should be. Okay, I will upload the assignment. I will check about the assignment too. Have any of you other guys managed to get access to assignment 2? So the reason why I'm asking all these things, and okay, yes, in which case assignment 2 is, okay, assignment 2 has not been released. So if you can only see us, you are probably in the wrong place because I haven't uploaded any of your us tasks yet. So where are the assignments located? They are located under student material. So I'll just share my screen quickly. So let's go there. So mine is going to look a bit different to yours because mine is the lecturer one and not the student one. So you'll go to student material, you scroll down, and then where I have this, you should have just the modules you have signed up for. So let me just take this course because I know this one and I don't want to scroll all the way down to FDEN. It's APCT. So the W ones are the distance ones. 2003. Okay, so and over here you should have your manual outline, your manual module, assignment 1. And then you can download it. So with that, that's where you will find your student material. And then your PASS document, etc. You will scroll all the way down on your student intranet screen, School of Education. Wait for it to think. And you guys are doing a postgraduate certificate in education. So you are distance. And then we have the academic calendar. So you can go have a look at that. It just tells you when the term dates are. The one that you really want to go find is the Program of Assessment Schedule, also known as the PASS document. So you're going to hear us talking about PASS a lot. We love our acronyms here, love them. So the PASS document is the important one. So this is your program of assessment, and it has the due dates. So FET English, so your first assignment is the 20th of April. So you've got a little bit of time. And then assignment 2, it hasn't been released yet. So that security thing means that they've uploaded it, but they haven't let you have access to it. That's going to be due on the 16th of May. Your summative assignment is going to be due on the 12th of June. Okay. Now, the US tasks, let me just explain about those quickly. There is no given due date. Now, what is going to happen is sometime during the term, I am going to be given a date when I need to have all of the US tasks done on the capture sheets, and I've got to email those marks into the results center. So I have to get all of my results done and sorted before that deadline, which they haven't really relayed to us yet. That's why all of these are blanked out. This is normal. This happens every year. So what's going to happen as we go through each learning unit, each theme, I'm going to start putting up US tasks. I'm going to give you a suggested date. When you get to that suggested date, you don't have to panic if you haven't finished it yet. That is the suggested due date. That's not the final due date. The reason why I like to give you guys that due date is to help you to organize your own work, because you really don't want to get to the end of the semester and suddenly you've got assignments and summative projects and POEs, and now you have to try and work in all these little US tasks. So I will give you a suggested due date. Sometime towards the middle of the semester, I will then give you a final due date. And don't worry, I will let you know. I will email you. I'll make announcements. I'll send you some more email. And then on that date, I will need to finalize all my results, because I will need to send in those results by the next morning. Okay, so let's see what questions we've got. Okay, yes, yeah. All of this is on SharePoint. Yes, that is a very good question, Megan. You do have to attend 80% of the lectures. So you have to, it's called 80% engagement. So if we look at your manual outline, sorry, your module outline. I always say manual for some reason instead of module. I apologize, I don't know why that is. Okay, so there's a lot of great information here. So the module resources, just in case any of you were having a bit of a panic attack, there is no prescribed textbook. So the manual module is essentially your textbook. So this is the CAPS. You are definitely going to need the CAPS document. You can just download it. A practical guide to facilitating language and learning. I don't have it next to me at the moment. That is a nice book. I quite like it. It is aimed more at, I would say, foundation and intermediate phase. So If your library has a copy and you can go in and find it, that would be great. But it's great for ideas, but it's not. Let me put it this way. If you want to buy some textbooks and you want to buy some resources for your career in teaching, that's a nice one, but I wouldn't say put it into the budget if you don't want to. And then learn directed content, that's very important. Okay, so then, and sorry, I have seen some questions come up. I will be helping you now. So we'll go over this in a moment. Those are your assessments, assessment preparation. Okay. Oh, have you already shared that? That is great. So with this module pacer, hold on. It's not just the, so I'm just trying to find the hours you're meant to spend on this, and it's not coming up. It's 80% engagement. So you have to, I will try and clarify this, but I think the best option would be to email Inez. Okay, she'll be on your Outlook. You email Inez and just ask her to clarify that, because she is the one who does the attendance. The reason why some of these things are a bit up in the air, things like, are your assignments released yet? I have got the assignments because I have access to the lecturer's version of VC Learn. So I am not 100% sure what is being released onto the student VC Learn, sorry, student VC SharePoint. So I like to check, is it a case of one person is having a problem? Is it a case of it hasn't been released yet? Or is it a case of they are still loading modules? Because as you know, trying to onboard everyone by the start of the semester is very difficult. So we're playing a bit of catch up with uploading things. So in case you're wondering, well, why doesn't she know if the assignments have been released yet? That is because I am not on the team that uploads these things. I'm not on the computer side of things. So that's why I had to ask these things. In terms of the engagement, that is the requirement for your teaching experience. So in the full-time space, you have to attend a minimum of 80 sessions. In this case, we look at attendance of sessions. Have you watched the videos that have been put up? Have you completed the AS tasks? Have you completed the VC Learn tasks? So we look at how much time is spent online engaging. So just if you can, I will also email Anish, but if you can also just send an email as well to just clarify how many sessions this includes. Okay. And yes, load shedding is a big problem at the moment. It really is. But if you can get to your local campus, if there is a campus nearby and you can go there, then they will always have Wi-Fi because they have generators. Okay, so let me just check. So the NSS, Yolanda, you know what, I'll get to that in a moment when we look at the pacer. Okay. And being confused with caps, that is very normal. There are plenty of people who have been teaching for 20 years who are still confused with caps. I am going to do a bit of coverage of caps and what it is and how to use it. So don't worry about that. Okay. You guys have got the group. So in terms of how long do you have to be here, once again, I don't want to give you an answer that might not be 100% correct. Obviously, we do prefer it if you can be here for the whole lesson, because in half an hour you're going to miss everything. But I do understand you also want to go home and be comfortable for these things. So once again, if you can just email Inej, she'll be able to give you greater clarity on that. Yes, it is the live, the engagement. So the CAPS document, okay, sorry. So the CAPS document that is on the module outline is for grades 7 to 9. Okay, my apologies for that. I didn't do this outline. So that is the incorrect CAPS document. You are going to need it because you are going to be teaching in a high school. And what happens is, it doesn't just happen that you just suddenly are only given grade 10 to 12. You are going to be given 8s and 9s to work with, so you are going to need it. But I will put up the CAPS document on BC Learn. Just make a note. So don't worry, I will give you that. CAPS is intimidating. I'm not going to lie. For many years, I was not a fan until I really started going through it and using it. And I actually found that it's great. So don't be too worried about the CAPS document yet. You can relax for the moment. I will take you through it. And once you get the hang of it, it really is great. Okay, so NSS, I'm going to, I am going to go through now. Yeah, no, there are specific CAPS documents for senior phase and then for FET phase and for all the different subjects. Okay, so Inez, let me just get her. I will tell you what, I will email you guys her email address so we don't waste too much time. Okay, so let's look at the NSS. Okay, I'm just going to stop with the sharing my camera so we can save some bandwidth here. So the calendar, I did try my very best with. So I'm really hoping that it's worked. If there are problems with it, let me know and I will go back and see what I can do. So the NSS stands for National Support Session. Now, these are, I'm going to be the one taking it because I'm the lead OT. And what happens is that is a lesson. I've got an entire lesson plan that I fill in and that I send through along with attendance and all the rest of that. And what it does is that is a session where essentially I just go through the assignment with you. And okay, perfect. Thank you. That is Inez's email address that's been put up there in the chat. But during the NSS, I go through the assignment. I double check that we're all on the same page, that you all understand what each question requires of you. And if you have any concerns, so if you are feeling like, I'm looking at this, but I'm not really sure, do I have to do a presentation for the whole lesson or just the teaching and learning part? You can ask those questions and get an immediate response. So the national support session is a time for us to go through the assignment, to make sure everyone's on the same page, everyone understands what to do, everyone is happy with the assignment and what is required of them. I really hope that the sessions don't overlap. Let me just double check, because we do have a schedule. So I'm really hoping they don't. They shouldn't overlap. So your first one is on the 5th of April. Just go to April 5. You shouldn't have another collab at that time. Your next collab should be at 7:30 if you do FDLO. So it should be afterwards. If there is an overlap, please let us know, so we'll sort it out for you. Don't worry, especially the NSS sessions, we make absolutely sure there isn't an overlap. So if you guys can just let me know if you find any problems. And the NSS are great for everyone. They really are. They're fantastic. So don't worry too much. We will be here every step of the way to help you. Yes, sorry, I saw a hand go up. Does someone want to ask something? Okay. So what I am going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a short video, and I'll do a couple of short videos on this, just going over some of the basics for the course. And I will then give you the link to the videos. So I know it is overwhelming, and I do know that starting on the distance space, it can be quite, as I say, overwhelming, a bit frustrating, but it is not nearly as bad as it seems. I promise you, once you get into the flow of it, it becomes a lot easier and it makes so much sense. So don't panic if you are feeling a little bit unsure of things at the moment. We are here. You have plenty of support, I do promise you. So for example, if I can't help you with something, I will guide you to who to go to. So for example, I don't know the ins and outs of the attendance. I know it's 80% engagement, but I can't tell you exactly what that would break down to. So I know Inej is our program manager, and she will be able to, if she can't tell you, she'll be able to put you in touch with the right person. So as I say, It is a lot, but we are here to help you. We're here to answer questions. If something comes up during the week and you are worried about it, even if it seems a bit silly or a small thing, please feel free to email me. I do my best to check my emails every single day during the week and reply to everything during the week. Over weekends, it might take 2 days, but please feel free to email me anytime. Okay, so I just want to point out a few things. So this is our first week. Week 1 is really just making sure everyone is registered, everyone's put into a group, everyone is on board with everything. So we don't do live collabs, we don't do too much during that first week. It's just to get everyone on the same page. Okay, I'll wait for Marathi to get back. No, you can email Inez about the other modules as well. Yeah, Inez does all the modules. Sorry, I do go back and forth on the pronunciation of her name. The Portuguese way is Inês. The English way is Inez, just in case you're wondering about that. So this week, week 2, really is pretty much our first week. So we're doing the live collab now, and what you guys will be working through is theme 1, diversity in the classroom, and theme 2, introduction to language skills. So please don't worry if we don't get time to go over all of that right now, because I will do videos on them and upload them. And then if you have any questions, you can just always email me. And I do apologize for the pronunciation of names. I am terrible at them. So please just keep correcting me. So Marathi, am I saying that correctly? With the NSS, if you have questions, you can email me about them. If you are looking at the assignment and you do have questions, please email them to me. It's a very good idea to start these the assignments before the NSS sessions. The sessions are really there so that you've had some time to work on it, you've had some time to see what's happening with everything, and now you are making sure that you are absolutely on track. And a lot of the time, questions only sort of come up as you are doing the assignment. So that's why we don't put it too far in advance. So there's enough time if you are looking at it and you go, oh, wow, that's really, I went way off course there, which shouldn't happen because the questions are straightforward. But if you realize, oh, okay, so I misunderstood that part, there's time for you to correct. So yes, the document on the screen, it should be under more resources admin. If it isn't, I'm going to put it there now. And the assignments, so the assignment does say on the cover how many hours. And it's also in the module outline. So let me draw it up. I think it says 10 hours. Yeah, so this is 10 hours. Now, don't get too caught up on that number. And I know it sounds like a lot, because if you were to have to sit down and do 10 hours straight, you would want to throw your laptop against the wall. No doubt about it, at the very least. So please don't think that means you have to sit down one go, spend 10 hours on it. Absolutely not. But you know, if you do an hour on it here and 2 hours on it there and another hour on it the next week, what we're saying is on average, you're looking at about 10 hours. So if you finish it in 2 hours, that's a big problem. That is a definite indication that you have not done it. You haven't added in enough detail. You need to go back and relook at those questions because that's an indication that you haven't gotten everything you need to. If you're spending 20 hours on it, once again, that's a problem. That's way too long. So it's more of a general guideline. Everyone's going to work differently. Some people are going to finish it in 6 hours. Some people are going to finish it in 8 hours. I don't think many people go over 10 hours. I would love to think that people do, but in reality, let's be real, that's pretty much the max. So the citation style we use is the IIE Harvard style. So the reference guide will be up. I will put the reference guide up under more resources, admin. I'll put up your module outline, your module manual, assignment 1, the semester planner. I will also put up the referencing guide and the referencing policy. So it is slightly different to standard Harvard style. So just be aware of that. A lot of the time people like to use just the word referencing tool, but just be careful that's standard Harvard. I can't think off the top of my head exactly where the differences are, but there are a few subtle differences. So use the referencing guide. It is actually very straightforward, and it has got every single resource that you can possibly think of. If you use a TikTok video, it tells you how to reference it, so don't worry. Okay. Any more questions just off the tops of your head? Anything that's been worrying you or that you're concerned about? Okay, great. So, very good question. This is activity 1.2.1. That is not actually an assignment and there isn't a due date, but they count as part of engagement. So, have you guys, or how comfortable are you on VC Learn, on the course itself? Are you finding your way around it, or would you like me to do a quick run through with you? Okay, so I'll just do a quick one. Okay, we've got the course here. I'm just entering student mode so that it will look like yours. Okay, so this is your front page. Now, there's some information there, which is quite nice. You can go through that. Plagiarism, this tab over here is fantastic. So it goes through everything, when to directly quote, when do you need a reference? So a direct quote, copy directly when you summarize or when you paraphrase. So if you aren't sure if you need a reference, here on the front page of each module, it gives you this. Okay, so why do you do it? What are the sources? What do you need what do you need to make a note of? So when you are actually researching, what we tell you to take down the details of the source. What do you need to take down? So electronic sources are going to be the main thing you use. You make a date of that. Okay, why is referencing necessary? Important. So that's the referencing guide that you submit, and then examples of common knowledge. So you don't reference examples of common knowledge. So there's a lot of great information there. That's where you go for the announcements. They should be emailed to you. So module information, that's the lovely little introduction. So there is no manual. Sorry, there is no textbooks. There's a module manual. And then we've got BC Learn. Calendar. So this is what we've got here. And if you click on it, it should give you a little bit of detail there. Then we've got the learning units. So this is where the action is going to happen. So learning unit 1. This is what you should be able to do by the end of the learning unit. Now, don't panic when you see it. It looks like a lot, it sounds like a lot, but it really is pretty intuitive. So if you're working through this, you will be absolutely fine. So that's what you need to do. So then you can either go there or you can click there. So these over here, these are questions to think about. So you don't need to write down the answers, nothing like that, just to give you some ideas. So then we've got active learning. So this isn't something where you actually really need to write down the answers. It's good if you do, but at least really think about them and think, can I actually answer this question? Am I able to do this question? And if you're like, oh, no, I have no idea what's going on, that's a good indication to you that, okay, I need to focus a little bit more on this section. So how can a diverse classroom be explained? What impact will diversity in the classroom have on teaching English home language in the FET phase? Why is it important to understand diversity? And these two resources, that is an article and that video, that will give you some clarity on those questions. So technically, there isn't a textbook, but I will do a little video on it, and those are some resources. These are the sort of questions that you're going to ask. So theme 2, once again, what you're going to think about is something on phonetics and phonology. I'm going to tell you right away, this is not the most important section. There's a lot of, there is a lot of information here about it. And I would strongly recommend going through all of these videos because there's a lot of really useful information. But phonology and phonetics, not the most important section. I will go through the most important sections on the introduction to language skills with you. So Harms and Evans state that many teachers judge a learner's overall ability as below par based on limited proficiency in the language of learning and teaching. So this ties in neatly with diversity in the classroom. And what we are talking about here is a lot of the learners are not English home language speakers. They may be taking English as a home language subject, but it is not actually their home language. So because they are not doing well in English, we just assume that the ability is subpar. But what we need to look at is the idea of the fact that their abilities and their cognition is not necessarily based on their grasp of English, because they might well be learning this in their second language. So if you had to do all of your studying in a second language, and I know some of you are, and you guys can attest to it, it is way more difficult. So some people are incredibly proficient in their second language. Some people are really not. Well, they struggle because they're learning in their second language at a home language level. So they might be very, very capable, but because of the language barrier, they're not doing so well. So really, we're going to dive into this in theme 1 and theme 2, this idea of diversity, of barriers to learning. What are the skills that we are teaching in English? Why do we teach those skills? And then you go to activity 1.2.1, and you will discuss the importance of knowing and teaching the core language skills. Okay, so this is a discussion, and you will open the discussion tool and then answer the following questions. We teach not so that learners can hear, but so that they can listen, not so that they can speak, but so that they can communicate. And you need to discuss your response. So I know that the next question is going to be, what are the learning skills? I will show you that in a moment. So then when you're done with learning unit 1, you'll go through learning unit 2, which is designing a lesson plan. So we got multimodality. We've got, so theme 1, understanding multimodality, getting to know learner preference, and then developing effective lessons. So really, what you go through in this course is fantastic. Then we've got assessment, and then choosing assessment measures and tools. Over here, we've got more resources. So admin. Okay, yes, I have put these up. Fantastic. This is your semester plan, your module manual. So while I'm here, let's just take a moment to look at the module manual. Some great resources, some important information. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm sure you're all very capable of reading. So what you need to get out of this module by the end, the assessments, okay, glossary of terms, that's a very useful tool over there. Okay, so learning objectives, introduction to the learning language skills, language teaching approaches, terminology associated with the module. So what you are required to demonstrate familiarity with each of the core language skills, although an in-depth knowledge will be required and assessed in later units. You are required to demonstrate comprehensive knowledge of the different approaches to teaching English as a home language at further education and training phase level, and you're expected to show familiarity with the terminology associated with the design and delivery of lessons and assessments. Don't panic about the way they word things. They word things to sound very academic. So you need the caps, and we will go, I'll put up a video on caps. So there's an introduction. Now, why do we need to be proficient in these skills? What are the skills? First, listening and speaking, reading and viewing, writing and presenting, structures and conventions. Okay, so those are the language, the English, the core English skills. So when we talk about the core English skills, it's listening and speaking, reading and viewing, writing and presenting, and what we call it is essentially language and grammar, but they have a fancy term for it, structures and conventions. So everything we teach, we don't just teach a reading comprehension, we teach reading and viewing. When we teach them to write an essay, we're not just training them to write an essay, we are training them to write and present. When they do orals, while we're doing that, we are actually teaching them the skills of speaking. When we do a listening comprehension, it's not about getting them to listen to an article and write down questions. It is getting them to be able to listen to what is said to them. Okay, and we'll get a little bit more into that in the videos and in later sessions. And I'll go into more detail, but one of the things I love about this is the first question you get is, why do we learn Shakespeare? Like, it's a dead white guy from 500 years ago. What on earth can he teach me? And there's a whole lot I can go into about the universality of the themes, how it actually is very tied and linked to the universal human experience. But at the end of the day, what we are teaching them, we are not teaching them to read Shakespeare. They're not going to use Shakespeare in their real life. What we are teaching them is, in fact, how to read. So here is something that is out of the ordinary. It's not written in Old English. It's not written in Middle English. It is written in modern English. They don't believe you, but it is technically modern English. It's just old-fashioned. But it is a way of a style of language that they are not used to. So what we are doing is we are teaching the skill of being able to read that. When they are watching the play, we are teaching them listening and viewing. And then when we ask questions, we are teaching them the skill of writing. So we use Shakespeare as a tool to teach the core skills. And we use cartoons to teach the core skills. We use comprehension to teach the core skills. So all of the things that we are doing, we aren't teaching them how to answer a comprehension, we're teaching them how to read and understand, how to answer questions, how to write coherently. So that is essentially the main part of the core English skills. So this is what you will go through this week. You'll read this part. Okay. I just want to double check, but I think theme 2 is going to be next week. Okay, so, sorry. I do need to explain this to you. This is, in fact, not theme 2. This course was updated a couple of years ago, and they didn't update the manual module. This language teaching approaches is actually This is theme 3. So in my announcements, I do try and put out fairly clearly, or I try to be very clear, and I hope it comes across at least fairly clearly what you have to go through. So if you see they haven't included the section on diversity, I will put up resources on that. So this week, you're going to go through that bit on BC Learn. You're going to go through this, the introduction to the language skills. And then you are going to go back over here and you are going to go and do that activity. So once you've read through the manual module, you have the quote. What is your response to that? Why do you think reading has been identified as the skill that has the greatest impact on school success? What challenges do you think teachers face in teaching reading in the FET phase? How do you think teachers can address these challenges? Do you think grammar should be taught discretely, so completely separately? Justify your answer. Now, guys, I just want to reiterate that these questions don't have right or wrong answers. There isn't a textbook answer to them. What we're looking for is, what are your ideas? Having looked at the information we've given you, what do you think of these? What are your ideas? And one of the things I really, really want to impress upon you, you are very intelligent, very capable people. This is a postgraduate course. You guys all have at least one degree. There is absolutely no reason why you should doubt your own thoughts and opinions. So please don't feel that you don't want to answer questions that there isn't a textbook answer to because it might be wrong. I am sure, and hopefully you guys will write something that isn't correct. And hopefully that can open a discussion and open new ways of thinking. So please don't be shy about doing these things. You guys all have a lot to say and I want to hear about it. Okay, so that is really the most important part. So you just click there and it will, and then you start. These are your quick links, so blogs, journals, wikis, discussions. So I see most of you have, okay, about half of you have done this. That's great. You can go to that discussion from there. Blackboard Collaborate, you've all obviously found. Okay, so recordings in the past 30 days. Then, when it comes to assessment, you are going to have to do this before you can submit your assessment. So you're going to have to click the integrity declaration for all submissions. Sorry, you click above the arrows. And it's a test. Essentially what it is it's the integrity declaration. You have to read it and you have to click I agree. And it should take you to your assessments. Okay, so it takes you to student materials. I'm registered for all the courses because I'm on the lecturer thing. And then submission links. Okay, the submission link isn't open because I didn't actually finish the integrity declaration. Let me just do that so you can see that on my computer. So you will actually read all of this. Please do read it. It is important. Don't just do what I've just done. Okay. And I got 1 mark out of 1 mark. So then assignment 1, I will click there and click the title above to submit assignment 1. So then you will attach the files, you'll click agree, and then you will submit. Okay. You know, if you really want to add a comment, you can add a comment there, but if there's a problem, I'd prefer it if you emailed me. And then contact the online tutor. Okay. So that is VC Learn. Yes, we are finishing this. So what's happened now is we've reached 1 minute to 7. So that is, you've reached the end of this. If you've got 70% of the time, so in the online space, so Megan, in the online space, we are trying to use the calendar a lot more. And there should be semester planners like mine for all of you. So Hannah, I don't want to give you any information that's going to be wrong. So speak to the individual online tutors, because that is, I don't want to say it's not that important. Okay, so are they compulsory? Technically not. I would encourage you to do as many of them as you can. So this week there's just one. So I think it's a very important one. I would strongly encourage you to do it, because I think it will be very beneficial to you. Some weeks you'll notice there are lots of activities. I will tell you which 1 or 2 are the important ones. So focus on those. And if you get time, do the others. So it is part of your engagement. It's not compulsory, but it's strongly encouraged. So when it comes to the student portal, please be aware that you cannot break it. There is nothing you can touch on there or click on there that is going to break it, that's going to take you somewhere you shouldn't be, that's going to send the system crashing. So please don't be scared to just go on there and click around as much as you can. It's all there for you, so have fun with it. So yes, it is 7, and I'm going to say you guys are more than free to be released. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this has been useful to you. Keep an eye out for some videos. It might only be up by the weekend, but I'll do some videos covering all of this. And if you have any questions, email me. I'm going to be hanging around for a few more minutes, so if you want to ask, please feel free to hang around and ask. So ChatGPT, I did see. So ChatGPT, very, very interesting tool. As it stands, you're right, it is an incredible learning tool, and in some ways we're very excited about it. The honest answer is I think most of the staff at VC haven't had time to really look into it. So we've been posted lots of articles and videos on it, but to be frank, we've been setting up the courses and we've been trying to get ahead of all of our admin. So right now, I am not very comfortable with how to use it properly as a learning tool. We will be integrating it. We are very aware of it. We are very aware that it has a lot of use. So we aren't just going to ignore it. We are going to be integrating how to use it ethically and effectively. But short answer, don't use it. For the time being, just stay far away from it for your varsity work. Because if you use anything from ChatGPT, it's going to be considered a resource because it's not your own work. So it's going to need a reference. And referencing, while straightforward, does tend to be a bit of a sticky subject for most people. They're not too comfortable with it. And this is an entirely new resource. We haven't even got the guidelines for referencing out. My suggestion to you would be right now, we're still figuring it all out. All I know is that if you use it, it is not your work. So if it isn't referenced correctly and used correctly, it's going to be flagged for plagiarism. So because you are postgrads, there isn't really a grace period. So like the first years, their first assignments that they hand in ever, we can go, okay, you didn't know what you were doing. So if you use ChatGPT and you don't use it exactly perfectly ethically by accident, you mean to reference it, but you don't reference it properly, it's just going to be a hassle. So my stand at this moment in time is just stay away from it for varsity work. Play around with it on your own time, see how you can start integrating it into lessons for yourself when you are a teacher, not lessons that you have to hand in for work, for varsity work. But I would be very, very careful at the moment. And so at the moment, the short answer, no, don't use it. Yes. So I'm going to come back to you about assignment 1, and it is a huge, huge problem. And what's very interesting is when it first came out, it seemed to be very accurate, but now what's interesting is the more time it exists, the more data it pulls from the internet, which means the more inaccurate it does get. So yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of problems. Yes, things like it's written an entire essay with references on someone who doesn't even exist. So it's not infallible. Yeah, and that's it. It actually, even if you wanted to plagiarize and not get caught, ChatGPT is actually going to cause more headaches. It genuinely is. Sometimes I look at the first years in the undergrads and I go, you put so much effort into trying to get past the plagiarism detectors that actually writing the essay yourself would have been easier. Yes. Yeah, Mishka, you have a lot of experience in the academic field. Um, so I'm sure you will have a lot to say about it. And sometime I'd actually be very interested to hear what you have to say about it and what your guys' experiences with this has been. Maybe I'll make an ask task on something like that. So yeah, short answer, no. Where to find the assignment? So you will go to Where are we? You can go here and go to find an assessment, and it takes you to this page. So this is all of the assignments for all of the modules. You will only have the modules that you have signed up for. The other way you can do it is by going to, where are we? You can go to your home page for the student intranet, student portal, and then go to student material over there. And then this takes you to that same place with all the modules, and your modules will be up there. Yes, I can imagine how IT people feel about it. Okay, so from my side, those are the most important things I needed to tell you about. Everything else I'll put in a little video and you can go through it at your leisure, but that's pretty much how to find your way around. Are there any other questions or anything you want to comment or ask?
Just wanted to say thank you very much for the session. It helped a lot.
Alyssa, I do just have to ask you, because Alyssa's my old student, were you the one that made that meme for me? For my classroom? Thank you, guys. I am still here, so if you do need me for anything, please shout. That's everything from my side, though. As I say, if you have any questions, just email me.